Okay, Fambulem, a warm welcome from the Now Media platform. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. So all we listeners them globally. And when I say globally, I mean globally. We are approaching 500,000 viewers since we commenced broadcasting little over 3 years ago. 500,000 views. And this now factual statistics, and that's a combined statistics, both on Facebook and YouTube. You can check that up yourselves, approaching 5 million viewers. Today is unique in many respects because as the then and now media empire, they try for grow, they evolve into something we past waiting we've been on do before, and not only us, but others as well. In this regard, they introduced this program for the very first time on the Then and Now platform, which is called The Week in Review. The Week in Review, Fambulem, is nothing really strange other than looking at issues them where happen now the print and electronic media now we country. In other words, news then will make the headlines. So we say what we go do in this regard is like every week we will call the brilliant minds. And remember, there are many people standing by, and this is the debut of this particular program called The Week in Review, where we go discuss all the issues they are. The very first program, the people that will make this history tonight are two respective gentlemen. We know about we country who are brains and able to make competent analysis, not inside the box only, but outside of the box, provoke thoughts, look at things them contextually, pose their own perspective on issues and challenge other minds them for challenge them so that we go get the best. None other but Mr. Momodu Ansari and Mr. Daniel Bompa Toure. Now, there are two people there where we get now this initial program we get for country over the many months, hopefully the many years to come. I want to say welcome to our two sides. If you hear me.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to me, brother, Mr. Toure.
Thank you very much, sirs. And I really do appreciate it. So, Fambulem, we know say the numbers low now, but if we can try for shape these to we contemporaries, to other platform them, to other network of ours, this is the way it works. So other people can carry for themselves. Don't make judgment now. Don't judge the book by cover. Come and listen. Tonight, what you want to do, we want to look at a cabinet reshuffle. We want to look at NCIA, the registration and verification process. We want to look at President Julius Maada Bio in interview na CNN quite recently. We also want to look at the state opening of parliament. We also will take a look at the non-party decentralization policy as put forward by this current government. We want to look at the consortium of progressive political party, them we just emerge, waiting out the views them, and we will allow the people them for talk about that shortly. And if not finally, even the 60th anniversary independence don't pass, just little over a month ago, not quite a month in fact, but last April, this April, right? I want to go straight to the point. Mr. Momodu Ansari, this goes to you, sir. I want to let you rub much little bit the cabinet reshuffle. When I say cabinet reshuffle, in other words, sir, waiting can precipitate a cabinet reshuffle, even though people are hired and fired. Waiting can precipitate that. But specifically, in this thing what they talk about, this recent cabinet reshuffle by His Excellency Julius Maada Bio, waiting precipitate that, how you see waiting na your analysis of the entire process.
Thanks again for hosting me, and I would still I'd like to extend my thanks to my brother, Mr. Ture, who will share ideas now also today. But coming to the question itself, where I would like to jump onto due to time, normally common sense and people when you don't become president, you force cabinet. You they watch how they operate, you they do how they try for how they do things. But if you see you don't reach the point inside the reshuffle now, there are a lot of things where they trigger that. Either you don't see weakness in a certain area, ministerial areas, then or certain parastatal areas, then where some people and they perform or they perform well, then you try for juggle things. Because at the end of the day, as a head of state, you are judged by outcomes. Then you are judged by the achievement the way you make. With reference to this matter beyond reshuffle, what you mean or what you view now, what I think there are three key big guns then I have. Where one, I would like to say the general Israeli population or public happy about and don't know much about what the individual ministers and say we're affected take it to be. The first person I will start with JJ Safa, a removal one from the financial ministry. I think now a plus for Sierra Leoneans, they wouldn't they really get disgruntled or fed up with the economic downtown of the country, the way the economy they go, the so-called bread and butter. So JJ Safari removed one and that financial ministry there, and that'd be a big plus for the Sierra Leonean. But as I say now, so you go for replace them with another competent somebody, because one reason why make first of all they remove one, because if you say there has been weakness there has been lapses there. Whether one reason and the first of all way as a president you look at, for strengthening the areas that we want for strengthening. I think the other big guns they also now the chief minister. The chief minister, obviously for me, as he say, the possible way I feel say it will profit out of that now, but that depends again whether they take over that position now the vice president. Because the chief minister role become now as the man where they supersede all the things. So what's the vice president doing here? And we say in a self-created position and the man won the position. But how did the guy feel himself? How did Professor Francis felt about the whole thing? That's one separate question and the way perhaps we will labor about later. So the other third person also is now Ali Khabar. Ali Khabar, a removal from the United Nations to Egypt. Many people in Siam from the social media, which I read, which I gather as a demotion of a downgrading thing. Why? I don't know, but we all know, say, Ali Khabar was a contestant, one-time presidential candidate. I mean, for the flag bearership, sorry, with Marabio. And Ali Khabar, a popular figure as well, maybe, well, controversially, therefore, be careful, I would try to say. And maybe within the SLP party, yes. So Ali Khabar, obviously, maybe the current president be say and say, no, this guy not for the too close to me, or for the too close to home politics. Last time I'm far away from here, like busy with international issues then I are. So those three big guns for me, if we look at Madabio in reshuffle, now it gets some positivities, it gets also negativities here. But generally here, if you look at a government, the reason they why make them the reshuffle cabinet time, it depends. It depends how they perform. A lot of head of state that they tell you say, well, now because the person initially have been thinking say go do well in that ministry, they need to do well, will not see head to head. Because there is no collective responsibility are we supposed to be, So I think just in summary here, there is some significant problem within the Madabio government which trigger a reshuffle, especially after independence. Especially after the independence, we do that. So if I reach there, make I just pause a little bit and then what me man say.
All right. Many thanks there, Mr. Mansare. For your outlook on this particular issue. So let's take this same thing to we other analysts for tonight, Mr. Daniel Bompaturi. Mr. Daniel Bompaturi, the issue of cabinet reshuffle, specifically the most recent one, how the president get the power for hire and fire. You enjoy the benefit of the president, you know, your way they serve them, way not satisfied with you, you can go, but also strategically and waiting we brothers say that much in terms of hiring and firing and cabinet reshuffle. What's your take, sir?
Well, of course, the president's, the constitution empower him for hire and fire people as the chief executive. The constitution gave the mandate for steer the ship for the next 5 years, you know, after an election. And the constitution gave that responsibility because at the end of the day, at the end of the 5 years, now the responsibility of the entire government therefore lie upon, you know. So the constitution very clear about that, and I make empower through a clause within the constitution for hire and fire. But governments, the whole world, Sierra Leone in isolation. That's the first thing I can always say, because some things they know they happen. The facing are just Sierra Leone, we are isolated. No, with plenty other countries them, and waiting they happen in other countries, and the wind, the flow of development, the flow of governance change, will also they blow over to Sierra Leone. Now, when a president they change a cabinet, most times, often over 90%, the focus will be on performance, the performance of the team. Now they influence the president for say, they can make a cabinet reshuffle, they can do this, they can do that. And sometimes you get public opinions, things people and don't they talk. You know, the president they able for pick them thing and they able for understand say, well, I can adjust this ministry. But when you look at the recent reshuffling, many people in they say no, it not boil down to that at all. It not boil down to performance. People were not elevated or demoted based on performance. Now let me take like the Minister of Finance, JJ Safar. Okay, the appointment you get as chief minister now a promotion. That means the president approve of the work they do, and he's also give him an added responsibility. Even though you don't, in the past couple of weeks, this last week, you don't they change, say, well, then they changed the name of the office from chief minister to office of the president, where, you know, now another whole drama. But the fact say, the president give the appointment, say this man and the chief minister, it means an elevation, you know. And Ali Khabar, me not think say President Bill get any fear, say any candidates then at the SLP will popular person. No, me not see that at all. If they go pan convention today, then go pan convention, everybody, Malabi will secure the highest number of delegates from inside. So I don't think say that's for the Ali Khabar in transfer to Egypt. Some people in the tell me say, or some people I don't engage with tell me say the continuous videos and everything where like Charles Taylor in all issues and they will they come up where they mention about Ali Khabar and all of those things and say they hit on so much within the UN system, the United Nations headquarters there. And so he's very concerned about that. So I think President Bill just want like for just get a new face and do something new. So he just try for change, because the possible they serve as because you get the political affairs and they get the legal wing within their office way Ali Khabar operates. So the possible they represent the legal side. Now one is Sierra Leone will just get a PhD in international law, one something Sila, either Imran Sila or something like that. Okay, so it's very vast on international law. I think they don't get lots and lots of stuff around that for quell the situation. So they just want for just relocate and Ali Khabar. So the David Francis are not thinking a demotion, you know. I just see say like we Mr. Masai say the office don't look not like misnomer. The office don't come, but it's like working all day for them. You know, so as when they don't reach that point, so then decide say, well, then can send Dr. Francis now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where you know, so that going for be the chief diplomat of this nation, and I think there's a whole lot of issue around that also.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Ture, I will go to Mr. Mansari shortly, even though this is not meant to be like a sling match with two guests then, but some of the things that you don't say, I could just like for ask questions around that a little bit, because Mr. Sef need for understand. Hence why we asked the initial questions on the strategy of waiting mean for dispose and possess. In other words, the president's use of the cabinet reshuffle, why he pull and put. So this question goes back to you, Mr. Ture. Okay. So with all of what you don't say, why then, if waiting generally people and they assume that the country, in other words, the office of the chief minister, for example, was created by this very presidency creator. 3 years on, it appears as if the presidency in decision will be making, creating this ministry is no longer of any kind of use. So it moved the man where they put it as chief minister into something else. But that man, there are questions around him. I don't know, but there are questions around him. But then he make the foreign face for the country. Will that go down well? Is it because of the international connection or is it domestic? What is the president in policy based on? Is it domestic or international, or is it both? And if it is, why is it?
Oh, thanks very much. Very good question. I will come to that. I hope my memory will serve me well. But I just want to make and affirm one point we brought up in the talk now about Ali Khabar. To be honest, I think Ali Khabar, in addition to this legal issues surrounding, or what would they perceive for, say, Chastelo affairs here, if indeed Madam you want for, if you know the fear Ali Khabar, if Anambra come home, there are more tough positions than home where Ali Khabar for don't take. Yeah. And I don't think say Ali Khabar 100% comfortable or willing for go, or well, na appointment anyway, he need job, he can forget the job. You either take it or leave it. But me and you know, say if you did at the West, any job I'm not comfortable with, I'll resign. I can't take it because I don't want to be seen as a failure. So Ali Khabar options them in there for let Bill Brand come home. Say, look, you don't there too long, come home now, other position than need for you. And what they talk about Ali Khabar in threats to Marabura, and not to say na immediate one or now, but I think even from the beginning, if you don't make sure say Ali Khabar go away from him, so that he will get more room for build up his own and power base, get the party under control. That I mean own view than they. In terms of what you talk about the chief minister now, so I think the issue is more home-based than international pressure now. Not forget, say, the chief minister, as an individual, self-safe, people say him as arrogant. I mean, I don't know the guy, I don't ever meet, I don't ever talk with her. Now, watching with the written on social media also. And then in way of doing things, go down well with quite a lot of people and they. Across the country itself, public opinion suggests, say, he's at low rate. And whether he will perform in the international community for whatever reason or so, that remains to be seen. We get for give and time. We get for be honest and give and time objectively because it just don't take up the position. But I think, say, to be honest, I say and say more, okay, the foreign ministry, an important ministry, a senior ministry, and a very crucial ministry to the country itself. But for say the chief minister now, you don't feel for left that position as chief minister, sorry, David Francis, for left that position as chief minister, for go take over the foreign ministry, I don't think say it go down well with him. I mean, from the social media we read, although we get for substance that because most of these things everybody can write your own stuff and everybody can make up your mind. But I think say, go down well with them. To be supervised, first of all, look and say, again, for be supervised by somebody who be even supervised before, then a JJ Safa, we don't go there now. Even if they get for change, like my brother will say, and allegedly for change the position from chief minister to office of the president or so, that means they get for really adjust job prescription here, the role without ministry, whatever ministry, I don't know if my ministry get for me or what or so, where you get for play. And whether this time we will see the vice president go get a more central role for play within Madabio in government. We all know say the vice president office is as now one of the dormant office so far, what I ever know during Sierra Leone political history. I mean, there was a time where the president not been there for about weeks. And there was a leak letter where the vice president gave an address to key stakeholders and of the party, where they say, well, normally if the vice president or the now info play more key role. But here was the chief minister taking all those roles. Now in they decide what to be done and what not. So I think if I miss any point from the original question, I just feel say the pressure is more at home than international regarding the chief minister.
No, I think you addressed it well, because you don't get for deal by point, but in other words, you encapsulate the entire question and address them. And we get many other things there for cover, but I will give Brother Daniel one more chance on this issue of reshuffle. And Fabule, I want to understand, say, what we'll be telling us, say, they bring one of the best minds in terms of this newest program on the Then and Now platform. And how would they see so they play out? We get Mr. Daniel Bompatue, a brilliant mind. I mean, you can make the judgment yourself based on what you are hearing from him, what you are hearing from him, and also Mr. Mamadou Mansare. So today, the 23rd of May, 2021, this is now the debut program on the Then and Now Media Empire. Is called The Week in Review, and it's open. We get people there already where we don't put now a database for can help we for put the Week in Review in perspective, contrast, comments, news, and analysis. Today now the very first one, and we get in two guests there where they make history. Daniel, quick one, because we get other many things there for cover up.
Yeah.
In which when I say cover up, I don't mean for cover up, I mean for cover. We get waiting what Mamadou just say. The president, of course, get this atomic, they call them the atomic button, this nuclear button, so it can use them at in which. But in terms of this first thing we try for cover, which is about the reshuffling, strategically speaking, even though you don't speak to that, but I just want to bring what Mamadou say back na your domain. Ali Khabar helped the president. That's no secret. He helped the president for win power. He's a very powerful man. But equally so, as a rival, you get for fear him. Even though you want him and you can't, you better keep him at arm's length. So then push him out there. We speculate now, but the circumstances, we can go into that if we have time. But they pull and come out Usa Ibinde and bring and down to somewhere else. Professor Francis from one end to the other. Quickly, Brother Bompatue, what do you make of this, strategically speaking? Is it to the advantage of the president? Is it to the advantage of the Sierra Leonean people? Which?
Mr. Mansare talk about, say, David Francis being not being the pull up well with other members of the SLPP, right? Okay, David Francis comes from Bradford. He can meet other people within the SLPP, okay? Well, the position was, he just take me back to NPIC time where Madabio and Strasser then creates the position of chief minister, okay? So I think now that kind of flow the president still they operate on, every way he come and take over office. But make I tell you one thing. The lady with them pull, the lady when I've been the foreign minister, Nabila Tunis, when he left, he write a letter. Okay? He write a letter, say one of the challenge when they get is say it's difficult for supervise ambassadors then. right? So here was Nabila Tunis. They supervise other people and when ambassadors, because the foreign minister and they supervise all the ambassadors.
Yeah.
So you get big fish the way they supervise, like the guy within China, in Domaina. Domaina, one post we contest, we run for SLPP flag bearership, and a very promising personality, you know. So for controlling people and they, you know, as Mr. Mansari they talk say, Dr. David Francis been get some problem with some people within the SLPP. Always done they can always be. So I just imagine now the challenge where it go get for able for handle ambassadors, because some of those ambassadors they've been showing up for SLPP even before David Francis came. Okay, so I want to see how David Francis go for how if we get some time and see how he go for if instead we face that kind of challenge they with Nabila Tunis in the face. Okay, and so like I can always say, President Bill not get any possibility they fear with they fear anybody within the SLPP. Is extremely popular within the SLPP. You don't get this popular. Ali Khabar not even popular. No, it's not popular each day in Domaina. If they put ballot boxes then today for SLPP, people in Domaina say go bitter. You know, so let's get done very, very clear. And I think say the president just do this thing for now. I think now for now as they come towards election now for strategizing team and putting team very much in place. Like for instance, Nabila Tunis, they remove him from foreign affairs, then sack him, and then after 2-3 days, they appoint him as Minister of Western Region. You know, because the president, I think, they don't become very, very concerned that Akisoya within Freetown as the mayor, they do some fantastic work, they do some huge work where if we bring somebody like Nabila Tunis, where I think that for be person, they go for minimize the popularity of that woman there within the Western region. Because I don't know exactly.
Okay, Danny, then last thing, Minister of Western Regional Affairs as opposed to the mayor, because that's a topic on itself as a whole. We're very, very interesting. So respectfully, brother, let's just pull back away from that. We will come back to that and you will articulate your point.
But let's just say one point. Please, be at one point. I just want to actually.
Yeah, sure. And this is the interesting part of Fambulem, because you see, when they bring diverse minds, they don't necessarily get to agree with themselves, as will be supposed by some school of thought. Here we go, Mr. Mamadou Mansare, please go on.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to ask my brother now. So, I mean, I hope say me philosophy and studies will help me well a little bit. When they talk about Madafio and Madabio, if we take the Machiavellian theory, perhaps when I saw me here, is it Madabio they play on the game is rather better to be feared than to be loved, as Machiavelli once said about the Queen's power, whoever he was. You don't want to read this. So Madabio in position at the party, is he really loved, or people are just fearing him? Or people just want to protect their own status quo, jobs, and other things, you know? Because let's be honest here, put SLPP politics aside. There are a lot of things when they go on at the country, we not go down well. And I'm sure you get quite a lot of ministers there where perhaps reserved here, they're not happy with. But in the interest of collective responsibility, perhaps again, they feared him, they just get to take the floor. So when you talk about Madabio's popularity within the party, I just feel say, is he really loved or is he just being feared?
So it will be unfair, Mr. Toure, if you don't attend for, respond quickly.
Yes,
so
I
if
just
you will
want to
respond quickly to that,
I just want to respond quickly. And before I go even to that response, I want to pay attention very, very carefully to this. Okay, JJ Safadon transformed this office into office of the president. So now we for know waiting at the duties and the duties where that office they provide. Because David Francis, we've been there as chief minister, one of his responsibility now for supervise the ministries. Okay. So now the office of the president. Now JJ Safaga for the supervise the ministries. We want the team, we want the terms, we encourage President Bio and other people, let them the terms of the office of the president be stated very clear. If now JJ Safade continue for supervise the office of the ministries, the Queen have been one of the key responsibilities and of the chief minister, then the vice president continue for be at large. So then I want you everybody get for make clear, everybody get for know, every Sierra Leonean get for able for know waiting na the duties and responsibilities of this new office. Okay, so until we know that, and then we just take say JJ Safa, even though he changed the office, is still going to be supervising the ministries, and so the office of the vice president continue for be that kind misnomer there. So we get very, very careful about that. Try to know exactly waiting at the duties, responsibilities of the office. Other than that, the vice president continue for the limbo.
Okay. Many thanks for that, Brother Mamadou Udonyeri. And I'm sure there will be questions that you may want to ask in the back and forth of this all, where we could do some other day. But tonight is the week in review, and Fambulem, as we promised Una, here we are, very interesting. As I sit in the middle of these two gentlemen, I'm enjoying this myself, and I know there's more to come. But Mamadou, NCRA, registration verification. First of all, paint a picture to Fambulem when they listen. What's in this NCRA? What is it about? What's in the aim for achieve? What are the speculations? What are the circumstances? What in exactly they go on?
To be honest, maybe my brother get more knowledge about this. I know I follow this NCRA thing, where I see more how people in the struggle and for queue for go register here. But I feel it's a very important institution within the Sierra Leone and political apparatus here. We're supposed for take statistical data here for determine voters or number of people for wealth distribution, or you call it whatever. But I think the only concern where I get about this now, I know credit, I mean, in honesty to the institution, I don't know much about them, but the only concern I get is the manner in which then they go about things here. You know, that for set a time limit within a population of about 2.something million for achieve a goal here within 10 days, it be unrealistic and it be poorly arranged, and they're not taking into consideration at all about the economic hardship of the government of the country. They're not taking into consideration people and needs the Naya. So by doing so itself, then therefore collect data that we're not accurate. Because at the end of the day, let me talk to number how knowledgeable are the people and when they collect this data, and to what extent do we have up-to-date system, accurate system then we're fast enough. I understand that some people and therefore wait for process one data no more, it will take 30 minutes. You know, just one. So how many people and they for do that? And how many people are achieve per day? Then you go set a target of 10 days for achieve of a population of 2.5 million. I think, but the institution itself, it's a very good one. I get to be honest with me, as I don't study them much. I don't know much with that mandate. And as I will talk about the electoral commissioner's office when I hold different thing, but it looked like when the SLBB they struggle with this what you call it, midterm census thing. So the next thing what for turn to that the NCRA for collect data. But I understand back say that data they can be used in an electoral process to some extent. I don't know if that's true. I think if I get to be honest, I don't know much about the validity of data when they get that. the impact that they make on the society, they, other than what I will assume from common sense, wealth distribution.
Thing to brother. This NCRA, what is it about? This registration, because they're in verification, the process of registration itself. But first of all, what's this NCRA all about?
Hello?
Well, Daniel, are you there?
Yes. The Minister of Development, Dr. Kaikai, he go on TV and explain the rationale for the registration. He say, well, development partners, they need cogent information about the population so that they're able for use them in the development drive. The government say they will use that information and therefore able to allocate resources and all of those things. That are the arguments with Dr. Francis with the table. Okay. We don't get problem with that. Okay. But just the fact say there has been call for this midterm census and this registration. To plenty people, then just plenty people feel say governments want to use them for able for go into now a target for the 2023 elections, because the present government, they always say the arguments of the government, right, even though it's not official, but they always feel say that kind of way they're able, we APC able for get all their other constituencies them close to when they come to the election, to the 2018 election, and create all their constituencies. Then the SLPP government say themselves believe say then can work on that and create some kind constituency where they become beneficial to them. But happy because the opposition initially them say they know they participate for them. They need to participate. But now I see they all, everybody they go register, because like what Mr. Mansari say, this now information also where as long as you're available, government able for use and say, well, this we can use this for registration. We can use this for complement the registration for the 2023 election. Okay, so now the issue then around that. But the matter was the matter was tabled by the development minister. Again, reason it's not for that. It's because now it's a requirement for development agencies and development partners, because when they want for point the resources and they want for able for see get real statistics about almost population there, almost population there. So but me happy that the opposition, everybody do understand and say now everybody for go register. I think then they go able for save any kind if the intention is fine, is genuine, okay. But if the intention for also like for see them as something like a whip for use them for whack the 2023 election, the opposition themselves then they inside them completely there on board.
Okay. Many thanks for that. And Fambulem again, I just want to bring to our attention that today, the 23rd of May, 2021, this is the Then and Now Media Empire. They bring to our camp one of the innovative program, not new to the international domain or national domain or even we own domain, but the sense that we try to evolve into something where we promise with people and say we go bring information come to them. And this is the information, unbiased, impartial information where they try to bring to people. And so that choices that they make eventually will be based on being informed. They know exactly what they do. And on this, we made a program which we now come for know as the Week in Review, in which we go look at items that we make the news, specifically items of so much significance, we can change the dynamics of statehood, the way how would they go before. Now they bring today, and the people, and we help we for bring this very, very first program to the attention of the public, the international community. Now, Mr. Daniel Bompature and Mr. Momodu Mansare. So we continue with the news or the Week in Review on the Then and Now Media Empire. And I'm your host and presenter, Mr. Prince Emil Kroma. Straight away, I want to go to you again, Mr. Daniel. I wonder we go about a little bit on the state opening of Parliament. It is important, once we understand what in Parliament means, one set of executive power, one set of power as we go know, because the three arms of government, where they function, the judiciary, legislative, and the executive, they always they in tandem with each other. They get called, maybe somebody want to participate. Let me just see quickly. Okay, let me hear this sister. This sister is brilliant. Let me just hear what you get for still bear with me. Yes, sister, I haven't heard from you in a while. We are live, and I sure say you want to say something with regard to the program.
Yes, so very much, and I want to say thank you for this program where you don't bring her to life. So,
and if identify yourself first, so let them know this voice without a face.
Okay, I am Janet Musa. I live in the United Kingdom. I mean, I'm Prince, assistant.
Yes.
So I am so happy to have this good gentleman on the program. And Prince, the topic there, and also when I move on to the parliamentary session, a speech with the president meeting. But there's something really where the two gentlemen that they talk about. I wanted us to, I just want to spend like not even 5 minutes. But let us get to the truth of the matter. You know, the reshuffling and everything. And when Mr. Ture is saying, and Nabila Tunis not be able, get challenges them for control the men or the ambassadors and stuff like that. And this is naturally, it's a traditional, it is a customary situation we face as women. You know, regardless of my education and our experience, men, we live in a patriarchal society. Man and no man take instructions on we as women. We may have the same education as them, but they just get a traditional allow we for control them. So we saw David Francis in Russia and one university, and he performed so beautifully. He was with the ambassador Mohammed Yangawa, whatever his name is. I hope I got that correct. They got on so well. So you see a friend to the one in China, where Mr. Chirek they say, because he was a flag bearer contestant, you know, he was a bold, but I think we get for, you know, what do we need for people that say, I see women are struggling for a first vice president, female first vice president. And what I said in that program was, well, first initial trouble, what we get for look at is changing the mindset of the mandate for not say women there. We say, you know, we should have this possibility, you know, it's a necessity. But we are within a position of power. But I think to say until we can get for reverse and mend their understanding of power, then we're going to be struggling. And that's what Mr. Trey just told us. Nabila Bin is trying to struggle. But Francis is going to win easy with the men. He's going to be on top of the game. Then no doubt at all. You know? And quickly, what I want to say was, I don't remember the other person name. You guys are
Mr. Mansari, Momodu Mansari.
Thank you very much. That idea we bring them up, whether they are allowed. You know, when you look at the Ali Khabar situation, I was a person, Ali Khabar is a personal friend, even though we, you know, even the SFP, we don't work with NGC, but we had that kind of conversation whereby, you know, I saw what he was doing, and for me, to make SFP, we not say it was a catalyst in that arrangement, and to remove him from the foreign office and send him to the US. And Mr. Turek now they tell me, say, because of this conversation about hands in the war, if he was found wanting as a legal person, if that man be found wanting, why is he still all over the place? They could not indict him. So that conversation, I find that a little bit faulty. I am thinking that Ali Khabar is the catalyst, no matter how you look at it.
Okay.
Ali Khabar knows, you know, so I just want to say quickly, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Do appreciate that. And you know, one of the few people, whenever the program day in even midstream, we can pause just for entertain your thoughts, because your thoughts are always welcome. Many thanks, Sister Janet Matamusa.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, back to you, the panelists, them, Mr. Bompa Ture and Mr. Momodu Ansari, especially you, Mr. Ture. You are waiting the sister say, I suppose. Any quick addendum, or you want to retract something, or want to re-explain something, anything to that effect before we move on to the next segment?
No, I just want to, because that's Nabila say. Now, one of the reasons and the way he states in letter way, right? He handing over letter to Dr. David Francis. And I just hope say David Francis go able for get along with those guys, because some of those guys, David Francis can meet them at the SLPP. So I just hope say go get for work with them well, because now in the interest of the country. You know, and with Ali Khabar, like I can always say, Malabi, you know, the thing say, Malabi, you know, they even think about that, say, anybody within SLPP, you know, recently I see one video where you do an interview with AYV, where they talk about John Benjamin, you know, it was not impressive, you know. So I just they look like pussy like that day. I say this man no go ever give this man, they no go ever appoint John Benjamin into any kind of position, because
okay, brother Daniel, just for the sake of time, because we want to really wrap up on an hour with this first episode of the Week in Review. Brother Mamadou, in terms of what the sister say, what you brother Daniel say, is there anything you want to add, reduce, or just weigh in?
To be honest, I just want in line with the hope, the hope for say Professor David Francis to get along with the outside international community as a whole, the ambassadors there. I mean, yes, I agree. I understand what your sister say. As a woman in a position of that nature, it gets it difficult with some men them. But in a liberal democracy, in a liberal society where they live today, I mean, we all vote in now, so we don't get women there as line managers there with the supervised way, whether you like it or not. And some of them, by custom, by culture, we're all different. But some of us, what's one beginner and a woman? But that's a whole different thing. I hope say if David Francis be not begin even at home, it'll get problem with some of the cabinet ministers or some of the other authorities that were within the SLPP. And my brother talks in a kind of meet and they either by your own making or by just people in the field say, well, that man will be outside and I come anyway. What you know about politics? What you one can tell me?
Okay.
Then you get that struggle. So I don't say he go get the skill enough for let he go address the problem with that lady being the gateway in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for supervise the man and on the outside.
Okay, let me say this.
Yeah.
There is some differences in terms of me two guests then tonight, which me being in the middle they pick up on, which sets us up for a very interesting another program in inverted commas. I can already feel that, but that is really entertaining and really, really good for the benefit of the country. But we get for move on. But just before I move to the next one, where I've been just articulated before the sister call, is it's not because Ali Khabar is running around free, means that you're not being get hands in the RUF or that interregnum. No, the chief way they prosecute on this entire thing, where even come on a different country, but then be hold accountable for another country, mention Ali Khabar, but mentioning his name, mean that Ali Khabar himself will have been called for like he can defend himself. Whether he would have been set free would have been a different thing altogether. But he was never called to that respect. But that does not mean that he is free, you know, to get anything for do that. You get people like Michael Amin. These people were senior people. Today, he's not being convicted and he's running around free. I think he lives somewhere in Scotland and still politically active, and we can go on and on and on and on. But that's not the discussion for tonight. Mr. Mamadou Mansari, we recently see the state opening of Parliament. You know, Parliament in itself have become central to the national discussion of a country. How will they go forward? What in Parliament they do, what they're supposed to do, the speakership. We can go on 3 years back. But I just want to fast forward with the recent opening of Parliament. What's your take, sir?
Well, to be honest with you, this has been an opportunity for me and for President Bio for reconciled and show say it listen to the people then. I don't know if are they online or what's going on.
Yeah, you don't.
Hello?
You hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I just see the ball cam. I don't know if you see it.
Oh, we hear you clear.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. So anyway, I've been trying for saying opportunity be if beyond being well, I suppose, or maybe just not they listen, or maybe they listen and ignore the concerns that would go on at the country and be an opportunity for cement for amend some of the issues and they. But also traditionally, the president's speech in a parliament now for outline the achievement and we don't make within the period we don't get power and what you don't left in future goals them. I listened to some of the consortium civil society advocates them. What do you mean? More than repeat what the president they say, but that's not the matter. Now, what are these issues and how achievable are these issues within the short frame of time we don't left for them? So for me, I assess the whole speech here as a flamboyant, unrealistic goals them that cannot be achieved within this short time we don't left. And people and Sierra they now, then they pick on things. People and they forget. A lot of things then they under way President Bio say, where he belongs to during in campaign, would then yet still to be achieved. I can mention the Lunge Bridge, I can mention the Kono University, the free education is in a very controversial state. I don't know. I mean, it don't just follow left salary. I don't see it in reality. But what do they gather from whatever source of media here? It still get question mark now. So, and then for also go on for talk say either 1,000 plus miles or kilometer road, feeder plus tar road to be constructed. The question is, who said this money they come on? These are a massive project and that they we not to no more money matter, but it get time frame as well. And if you don't say you go into election in 1.5 year time, you for don't make sure say some of you manifestos, then the things that you manifesto, if you don't able to achieve, if not 50%, but if you achieve 40%, say way now a moderate figure than that again, perhaps you get the opportunity, the chance for talk say, I get a platform for argue, you know, for the next election. And give reasons and say the other project they are on the pipelines, they are ongoing. So I mean the whole thing about the speech there, a lot of things have been made away for me, as we say, they're unrealistic. And now just again, very typical of SLPP, where credits to the person who write the speech, he doing Richard well for identify some of those things with really Sierra they need. And President Bio make the effort for emphasize, for address them and stress on them for say if achieve them. It make that effort there. But the question is how achievable are they within the time frame we don't left for them, and what has he achieved so far? If not just the empty rhetorics, then we will, you know. So if I reach that side, I'll give you brother a chance. Maybe you'll get some comments.
Absolutely. So again, we take the same thing to Brother Daniel, the state opening of Parliament. What's your take before we sort of look at the other issues then highlighted by the previous speaker?
Everybody knows the way we celebrate with 60th anniversary independence, the Ghanaian president was here. And the Ghanaian president he make a statement that was indicting, you know, diplomatically, was indicting a mention about the tribes, you know, regions and all of those things, you know. it's an indictment. So you're sitting president for somebody tell you down there inside your house. So I think say President Bill squandered an opportunity like for use this a parliamentary platform in parliamentary speech for able for address things you know, things the way just calm the situation down in terms of regions, in terms of tribes. There's something, but nothing, you know, get even touch on those areas, you know. So I think say he missed a wonderful opportunity for able for talk to people, because he's the father of the nation for the next until 2023, and so he missed an opportunity for that. And then issues like he talk about the bridge. He say, well, the bridge. He's talk about this bridge from where they run for the election. Okay, they talk about this bridge. Now you can't say the bridge. Then don't approve the partner don't come out, the funding partner don't come out, and then don't identify the project and don't reduce the thing to $1.2 billion. Okay, yeah. So the Mamamaya port is still there, which is less than $500 million, which about 350 to $400 million. That thing would have been finished, and the airport would have been functional. This bridge is three times the price of that airport, you know. But still, we're not able to know that the financing body where them to identify and all of those things. And this age now, age where people, when you talk, if people look at the practicalities of things, not of course the person go just go talk no. People can get critical mind. You can't say they do this. Who that go fund them? Waiting at the advantage and disadvantage where don't lacking. And then also another thing where it hits now the issue of energy. They say sufficient energy don't they na free time. You know, it's able to increase the power base, the energy power base na free time. And you see everybody just Allah, you know, everybody just shout like that, you know. And so because people in the beginning say, well, in fact, people in the beginning say, they say, well, Edsa they undermine the president, because from what the president talks, say he don't empower, he don't power free town. They say plenty people in the beginning say from that day more blackout say. People in they use more generator now and all of this. If we reach some 10 as Sierra Leone, not too far back, people are not going to use generator again. People in the use light, you know, people in Toretto and generator and keeper, you know. But now generators they don't begin come on back. You go see some people if anybody been in a saloon now they talk, you go just see something and just say, oh, I they go off, I they fix me lights, or I they fix me generator and all of those things. So
okay, brother Daniel. I mean, this is quite interesting. But just before we move on to the next talking point, which is I will lay down shortly. But Fambul, we pick up from what you say, one or two comments just there in the chat room. It's like the president they outlined in priority them right, because you therefore deal with what you say now your manifesto, or I suppose where you go to parliament, the state opening of parliament, and go make them glittering promises there. And the promises are not new per se, but they don't match, the action don't match the words. Did I capture that right, sir?
Yes, sir, you very much captured that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But Amamoni, you want Robert on this small 1 minute, then we'll move on to the next one. This is quite interesting.
Yeah, I know. I mean, when we brought up in the start, Mr. Ture and I touched on one very important topic now, but and also we get for Camp Day, so I'll just wait for that opportunity there as well. But like, I agree with what Brother Ture say about the, as we all know, repeat this anyway, the type of goals, the unrealistic goals that what this government is set, and they know they need achievement anyway. So there is lots of promises now that they know they keep up to. And listen, the people are now with the digital, the way how the media they operate now, in a twinkle of an eye, we all know what's going to happen, you know. So yeah, I mean, the problem with SLPP is they are very, very good at addressing projects or addressing it with whatever sort of adjective or words that are, but to make it symbolic as how, I mean, APC get their own problem. I know I'm bringing it up, but APC has more pointers than SLPP where you can for infrastructural and development that our country did. And the problem with SLPP get now is they don't take this Public Order Act, they don't remove her, but yet again, they want to introduce another controversial bill there, whether the cyber bill. May I not see, I don't get differences, but why don't read the cyber bill? I don't see too much big difference there at all in terms of what the purpose is for, if not to suppress the opposition and people and within just liberal and vocal and wouldn't stand for the right, you know, because it's so vague here as to what in the Minister of Information go decide as a penalty should you break the law, you know, and the Minister of Information is answerable to the President, you know. So this is the SLPP, they are good at that. Okay, they don't get that praise, they don't get that credit. Take the Public Order Act off, but you are introducing another controversial bill.
Okay, thank you very much. And straight away to you, Mr. Bombature.
Yes.
I want to go most quickly on this midterm census. This don't raise eyebrows in the country recently, but what I want to let you do, I want to let you create an outline, an overview of what in midterm census first of all, and then mid, a prefix or suffix, midterm census, what it mean, and then you contextualize them for we in this present term of what we did talk about. So within a census, within a the midterm census, and what it means at this time, and why the government try to promote midterm census, if you will, please.
Yes, with this midterm census, but I want to make one point on this cybersecurity bill.
When they come to the cybersecurity, it's a conversation, but you can still go on for now. Okay. But we'll come to that.
Okay. So with this midterm census always na 10 years. Okay. That's what the Constitution say. But the Constitution also give the president power for call the midterm census. But this midterm census where the president don't call, it's not realistic according to the timing. It's completely unrealistic. It's not going to work. They're not able to match the numbers. They're not going to come enough for able for use them na the local council election next year. The information not going to be available. So the president don't pass, they don't go put they don't go table the document in parliament, 21 days, it don't mature, and it don't become a statutory instrument. So me want to let the government be very, very careful because according to the timetable, logical for let it for meet up, let it for complete the entire process up for meet up next year election. It's impossible. So I just don't at some time I make the government they try for push this registration, so but for the midterm census, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because even if you work, after 1-2 years, then we'll get another comprehensive census again. It don't make sense. It just don't make sense. If the president being gets that kind of intention, they inside like we come, so like in first year, you go into you say, well, no do a midterm census in 2019, but if we do that, if we count that kind of proposal, it fall within the time. So maybe I so many ideas and so many conspiracy theory go there around this midterm census. But me, on my own side, within the time, not there within the time frame for able for meet up the thing. So if we say we'll do the census, plenty money, I think that's $6 million, something like that, You do the thing, you just stop middle, and then we have another election. That's waste. Okay. It's just like that. It's just like that constitutional review where APC stall. That's just waste.
Okay.
So much money.
Okay, Mr. Ture. Let's just take this straight to Mr. Mamadou. Midterm census, sir. From waiting, Mr. Ture, the paint to the general public, it appear or sounds like issues of procedural impropriety. What's your take, sir?
You know what, my brother said the right thing then, as I know, just for add more or what is sorry for duplicating things, but he's well spotted. The only thing I go on for saying that is a misplaced priority. This money, if matter be for they want to get things right in a salon, this money where they put per midterm census, if it been taken a boost electricity power supply now free time, in popularity rate to go up. If it been taken, he say okay, I'd invest them into that Cornell University came regionally here in popularity they go up. Because whether we like it or not, to be honest, matter be in popularity, past normal possibly you know, but it's low. Instead, we want a quiz and our interview in AYB one time say, if you go into presidential election now, what do you think say you score go be? Well, it been look. Evade the question a bit, but when the interview press him, now he talks well, it will be more than that if that question they wiring. So the guy says no say he get problem with popularity. So if you get in priorities then right, this midterm census now one way not necessary. That money what then they put they can take that money, they put them into further strengthen the free education program, or things that were very, very much symbolic, like the Cornell University with the press, where the promise, the electricity problem again at the country, or the water supply, other things that they were symbolic things there, West Union they want for see subset with a lie, rather than and abstract things that like midterm census now with lots of money to go in. At the end of the day, yes, you will create employment for one or two people or few people but even at that get caution now because the brother been talked one very sensitive topic now would come into where the Ghanaian president been can't talk where I slap Namada in face about tribal issue in a salon. He was so eloquent where he named most of the tribes in a salon, maybe miss one or two. But we'll come on that topic there. So even in company midterm census, it's just not a priority for Australians now.
Yeah, okay, Brother Mamadou, that would be your view in terms of the midterm census. But let me say the president is looking at it from a different pedestal. It is looking from a different view, from a different perspective, i.e. re-election. Every president, internationally, globally, they are more concentrated, especially first-term presidents, are more concentrated in a second term. Because a five-year term or a first term is never really enough. So can we reasonably assume, A, that President Julius Maada Bio is focusing on a second term, and the routes to get to a second term will imply then things that we talk about, such as midterm census. Would that be some?
I disagree completely. Midterm census going to take you to second term.
You're absolutely right, sir. And why?
Midterm census going to take it to second term because the ordinary Sierra Leoneans, they don't care about midterm census. They don't know how many Sierra Leoneans they know about midterm census. Can't count me now how many days I was now. In fact, we sleep hungry, job no day, food no day. We begin to able to go to school. Now we know most Sierra Leoneans we saw those and we
Mr. Masaye, for the benefit of time, like coming quickly because not that I've been trying for say. What I try for say is it possible that the president could be using this strategy, in other words, for pursue a second term? If you know, if you try for understand where I'm driving to, for use this the midterm census. Of course, Sierra Leoneans are not very much interested in that. Then they look at a 10-year census, which they intend for see now and feel is money in their pockets, food at home or on the table. No midterm census, but the president, they try to conduct this in terms of looking at the future. So when I ask the question initially, what's in a census? Where they happen periodically, I believe, and why midterm census, sir?
Okay, well, ethically here, if Maada Bio wants forget a second term here, now the priorities and this would talk for set wide midterm census, not one of them. If for Maada Bio handle and the basic needs and West Leoneans they need, if you handle it, then they are the guarantee of the second term. But me time not a guarantee I'm second time. Except if Marabio want to use a dodgy way. Let's put it that way. For use midterm census figure here, for manipulate whatever I give for manipulate, way down they said it's very controversial because the stakeholders they need, the international communities they need. And all of bank on 2 months on international communities there because Sierra themselves now from the mood itself, they don't want to take any nonsense we come 2023 election. This now what you mean to see and what you have to read and understand. But
yes,
if you use midterm census as a gateway to 5 years next, he's using the wrong way. Let you achieve tangible things them, where Australians them, they will able to point and say, and instead we're able to map and talk them. They say, look, now this I don't do, now this I don't do, now this I don't do. You know, no one will do that because physically it's the same. And then we're able to come and go second time, but not to meet them.
Okay, Mr. Masari, well said, sir, but at least you come to the speculative point where I've been trying for making. You actually did mention that, which you went out of the way for saying, except he's trying to be dodgy. Yeah. And I've been trying for introduce that in the conversation.
I disagree.
Yeah, but many thanks, sir. So far, Mulem, I want to bring this to Unada on the 23rd day of May, 2021. We're having an interesting conversation here, and we hope this conversation, not only in the now, not only in the then, but going into the future, will continue to be interesting, because there's one underlying factor here, which is we try to understand what our problems is. In other words, diagnose what the problems are, and once we know what the problems are, then we can find a solution, and hopefully we can take this forward. So these are the newest program on the Then and Now platform media empire, which is called The Week in Review. The Week in Review is looking at issues which made the news electronically, print media, and you name it. We want to discuss them here. And the platform is open. So if you are interested, you think that you're an analyst or whatever, you've got something to offer, send us your resume, or maybe your resume may sound too technical. Send me some little bit of information, say you're interested for appearing on the platform for help for analyze, because this is going to go forward. Anyway, just a quick one. One of the people that will be supposed to get on the platform, when lawyer Ahmed Wuri, I believe, is now on the platform. Because of difficulties, you know, here back home, when we can say this, some people can say, oh, you try for undermine. No, this is not the intention at all. But we do have these discussions with Fambulem. But anyway, the brother is on the platform, and we just want to ask him 1 or 2 quick questions. So he said go up much, so at least he not come on the platform for nothing. Lawyer Ahmed Sise, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries at all, sir. And we hope for seeing more of you going into the future, but we will provide ample time because we understand the difficulties, you know, in terms of taking the program forward on your part. But yeah. NCRA verification, we don't talk about that briefly, but I know this is something very close to your heart and as an opportunity, and for that we understand in depth the width and depth of this. NCRA, registration verification. What's your take, sir? What's going on in the country?
Thank you very much for having me. Sorry, as you say, technical issues now make it very difficult for me for joining the program here. The National Commission for Civil Registration, they get the mandate, statutory mandate for get data of people in this country. All sort of data, okay? Just for stored data. Pursuant to that, then decide for bringing in say they want to keep all manning data, which is a laudable effort, I must say. But waiting now the key issue here, and this has always been the problem with Sierra Leoneans, with successive government, maybe not just this one. The issue of planning, simple issue of planning, data management all over the world now about numbers. How could your intention is to capture 8 million Sierra Leoneans from 0 to infinity age. You're not able to do the math for know how many people you go target per day, per district. Take, for example, the voter registration say 40 to 60,000 people per constituency. And this data has been derived since 2014, 2015 census. So we expect 40,000 people per constituency. One constituency, you go give them 1 grain machine, 1 grain computer for register every human being at that place, not just Sierra Leonean. That is one thing one knows. Then know for sure, forget that target, you have to do a pilot project and know how many you can register in 1 hour or per minute. Say it take you 10 minutes for register. So you know, say in a space of 1 hour, you will register 6 people. So when your time starts by 12 hours, say you start from 8 to 8, you know how most people they register. But no, that's not one thing. So they're not able to achieve their targets on that area. And then secondly, which is more important, initially, National Commission for Civil Registration attempted initially for tell the public, say, this data where then they derive, now data where then they use for votes. This issue bring a lot of debates. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, I can.
No, we hear you. Go on, we hear you.
Yeah.
So this issue provoke a lot of debates, whether they don't have the rights. The statutory mandate we then get now for just compile data. So opposition parties flock in with protests, say they don't have the mandate, and they don't have the mandate. The mandate for compiling voter registration rests on National Electoral Commission. Okay? Until such a time when they even summon the commission chairman of parliament for they clarify, say yes, he don't have the mandate. Now, when people and they go register, why are they asking people that you can only be registered, easily verified if you produce a valid voter registration? Why does a civil register has to hinge on someone's ability to vote or not to vote? Voting is a right, it's not compulsory. There are tons of Sierra Leoneans that I know who do not even register to vote. So if me turn up now a booth, they say, where you vote a card? Actually, I'm not registered for vote. They say, well, that's then get for register, you fresh. Fresh registration, you need your passport and birth certificate, or do you live locally? In some instances, they even ask people to go and verify to the chief whether they live locally. So if they don't, they cannot be captured in the date in the register as Sierra Leonean, which is their right under the statute National Commission Civil Registration Act 2016 as amended. Give every Sierra Leonean the right, let them capture in data from 0 age to infinity age, including non-citizens. So we go know the distribute a whole lot of things, okay? They're not able. Now, because of these constraints where we raise, they say, okay, we're going to extend for 1 week. Even the 1 week, people are still not able to register them picking them. And it is a school going period. How you go and conduct a civil registration when kids are at school? So you expect parents and the queue they span from is so long, the turnaround per queue is 4 hours. So you expect me for go take me picking from school, I can't queue, one no register, I can't go back to school, the next day I can't, it is not planned. But my point here is, I am going to admonish on the commissioner, on the government, please, I don't want any attempt to use this civil registration as a conduit to vote for the 2023 elections. It's going to spark loads of mayhem. We will want to see when the time is right. When you say
mayhem, lawyer CC, what do you mean by mayhem?
Because thousands of people will be disenfranchised. If they
but
say
that does not amount to mayhem or I don't know.
But listen, but let me just tell you. I tell you, say, if you then disenfranchise you, you've been voting all this while because of an error that is not of your making, because of the incompetency of the system they used to register. They disenfranchise thousands of people in a given area, and the political parties this country get a stronghold, they get a non-stronghold. If they can't disenfranchise tons and tons of people and they show up in the morning for go vote and they don't have the right to vote, can you guarantee peace? That is all I am saying. You cannot guarantee that those people will
chaos, I would say.
That is what I'm saying.
Okay, but Mamadou, hold on right there. You see, this is what makes the program interesting. And unfortunately, lawyer Sisi just to come on now. And when lawyer they speak, lawyer they can just stand for confused. We know to lawyer them and just make the case wow. And this is what lawyer Sisi has done. But we really appreciate this, and lawyer Sisi will come back because this is serious in terms of the national conversation. But you be one about something quickly if you can do that, because we'll be say 1 hour, now we over the 1 hour mark and we get 2 other segments there for complete this program. But Mamadou, you want to say something quickly?
No, I think some of the issue around this NRA thing will be done discussed, and my brother just come for cement more. I know lawyer who don't meet before, yeah, I know him very well, so he don't hammer the point, and he make us brother to also outline and explain and clearly. It just don't can really make a much more clearer. I mean, for the other people, and we they not be understand, but perhaps they understand. In a way, different people make different points at different times. People and get way of understanding it. So if you don't understand which are the issues around with from Mr. Toure, then I don't understand them from. We own brother, we just can't join me. So I think the point is made clearer here. And of course, the issue around suspicion here to be misused is there. We don't raise this, and maybe don't talk, say, the fact that the whole thing is poorly conducted, within an economic hardship where they go on now. You talk about picking out to go to school, or you get for go to work, you get for go do this. You just start time the 4 hours for go to map na queue, yeah, and then for go just say for seeing the register. Some people not go there. So the data how they go then they expect forget, they not go there. Past the die-hearted, political followers, and they go there.
Okay. Many thanks for that. And I want to commit lawyer Sisi right now. Of course, he's already given a commitment. Say next time he will appear, as long as we give him, ample time. And Fambul and lawyer Sisi be supposed to appear, and we take responsibility because lawyer Sisi they back home and will not be provide them an invitation on time enough for prepare for appear on the program. But notwithstanding, we get many other brilliant representatives in terms of this first program in the person of Mr. Daniel Bompa Toure and Mr. Mamadou Koroma. So I want to move on to 1 or 2 things quickly before we end the program. We don't go past the 1 hour and a half mark. I go back to you, lawyer Sisi. The Consortium of Progressive Political Parties, COPP, we just appeared on the scene quite recently. What's your take, sir? They've been making headlines.
Come again.
The Consortium of Progressive Political Parties, they've been making headlines, and we need to look at the political background of our country up to the point where we are. Outside this political consortium don't emerge, we made headlines, because that's what we are discussing here. So we're asking you, both from a legal perspective and from a political spectrum, what's your take, sir?
Well, first of all, Matthew, these are a consortium comprises of almost 12 registered political parties. So if they pursue an official, well, it will not be an official opposition, then do a pressure group or lobby group, whatever you may call it, and they within the legal realm. Now, but mark you, they have their members of parliament. They have their respective members of parliament in parliament. How on earth Where are these members?
Just a quick one, Lawyer Cisse. Not every one of them. And in fact, the large body of this consortium do not have, I repeat, do not have representation in Parliament, sir.
I take the cue. But what I'm saying is the opposition is represented in Parliament, okay? Now, so is it because they're not representing the people as they should? Because most of the issue with them for take so, and in an ideal country, these are the role of Parliament as well. And then secondly, the issues them with them pick up, the legislation them with them they pass. Because ideally, if the Parliament is up and running, the Speaker is neutral. The Speaker ought to be objective and neutral. That's the rule number one. If the Speaker, Parliament, the problem, the people not get confidence in Parliament, because you cannot lobby for a legislation if the Speaker is neutral and the country, the Parliament is sincere. Now, then they lobby the first legislation where they want this local council act where they want eradicate party representation. That's now one issue. The second turning issue now the census. The midterm census, as they always say, does the president has the right to conduct the census? When you see the provisions now the Constitution, the Census Act and the Constitution not get the direct act power, but you get them from the Census Act. But the Census Act in its own, in its literal meaning, it is not clear. You will say
but is the Census Act not part of the Constitution?
No, it is, because Section 179, Section 179 make them a product of the Constitution. Every law, the hierarchy of laws, from judge-made laws to acts of Parliament, they are part of our Constitution. So it is an act of Parliament it will argue that it is part. But now, the timing, earlier on, Mr. Toure mentioned about the timing, and it's very crucial. How on earth you want to do a census at this 11 when we have 9 months to elections? Less than 9 months to cancel elections. Do you understand? And you have.
So Mr. Toure said it's not possible. Are you on that same wavelength that it's just not possible?
It's impossible. You cannot conduct a census and at the same time you are conducting a national civil registration, and mark you, there is going to be a voter registration compilation back. The voter registration needs to be updated before the elections. So you have like 4 activities going on, and the government is funding. Now they will tell you they have funding from World Bank for the census. Well and good. But the problem is here. If you have that funding for census, why you not wait after the correct time, when the census due, when after 10 years, when at the natural time of the census? If you say you want to conduct a census now because of economic exigencies, and the consortium now say it is not for economic, it's more of political exigencies than economic. So you ask me for the consortium. I think the consortium are in the right footing. But the problem is, do they have a legal forum legs to stand on? They don't. Because all they can do now,
lawyer Cisse, we go get
it's like a toothless bulldog.
Now, I would really like for bring you come back on the legality. You see, this is why we're so much interested in your views on the platform in terms of the legal aspect of things. You are, let me see if I can remove you quickly. Yeah, in terms of the legal aspect of things. So I want to move on quickly to something else, because I want to wrap up this program. And Fambulemdia, will not forget, this is not the initial program. This is the debut of the Week in Review on the Then and Now platform media empire. And it is open. It is non-partisan. It is impartial. If you get a view, if you want to be part of the analysis structure in terms of what you want to talk about the week, things that will make the news, things that which are so obviously Sierra Leonean in terms of we national and political discourse, then send us, some information that you want for partake, and surely we will bring you come on. But for tonight, on this maiden program of the Week in Review, we get Brother Momodu Mansari, Brother Daniel Bompaturi, and just joining us is a lawyer or legal mind, Mr. Ahmed Sisi. We want to close this program, not now, just one or two things quickly. And one of the other things that we want to talk about, is the consortium. We just talked about and I pose them to lawyer Sisi. I want to read quickly and briefly about this consortium from Brother Daniel Ture, and then we'll go to Brother Momodu Mansari. Daniel, your overall view about this consortium of progressive political parties, please.
Like the previous speaker just mentioned, the fact that the consortium, they're not able to get whether they're not able to link up with them parliamentary platform. So now I make you see.
When you say parliamentary platform, you get forgive me because we have not understand certain things.
Yes.
Not the parliamentary platform. What is that supposed to mean?
The number of parliamentary seats within opposition I get, we're ready for votes. We're ready for votes against policies them or issues them with this body, with this progressive body, the champion. Like you look for the C4C now, like C4C get like 8 or 9 members. When you come for vote, they've always been voting with the government. You see? So, and another thing, we talk about this midterm census. When they conduct census, when they get the report for the census, now in the government they use for distribute constituencies, for draw constituencies. And I tell you, with this present parliament with this right now, this present government, they in fear. Let me say President Bill win 2023, a winner. Let me say he win, he get the popular, he gets 51%, right? The number of parliamentary seats where SLPP go get, if it still continue like this, all then 9 of parliamentarians they remove from APC. I tell you, if they conduct the APC, they win all. Right? And so even if President Bill, let us say he win 2023, win. And not say if the present constituency structure they like this, SLPP go still get majority, less go become minority in the parliament. The president is very concerned about that. So they want for now one of the things want for do any kind way for make it able for just fix up something within them constituencies there. Because the president knows say even if he win the 51% or 50.1%, if the constituency structures then continue like this, this is going to become all of those 10 seats where
but Daniel, quickly in terms of all these speculations, should the president win, shouldn't he win? But does the president really care about the majority in parliament? What do I mean by care? Of course it does. But if you want to change the coloration, the dynamics, let me put them in this perspective in terms of red and green. It can easily change from red to green, and we've got the record. Just going to parliament, just impose the thing where you want done. The president is on record, and I speak from on record. He's done it. He changed a majority to a minority to majority in terms of a political party. So he could do the same. This is not something that he's worried about.
No. The point is all of the APC members they remove. They remove them because they collect money from the consolidated fund. And the law say you know for collect money 1 year before you go to those elections. And now they collect money from the consolidated fund again. And they are still popular in their constituencies.
One quick one, Brother Daniel. One quick one. You make a good point. But was this not the same in the same case in terms of SLPP representative them, or some of them, were they not affected by these same rules, collecting monies from the consolidated fund? Or in some case, in terms of an APC representative that you will have spoken of, there is a record of a known APC representative where we don't left power a long time, not be to take money, not even aware whether money they go and money not be they go, but suddenly we hear all the stories.
The constitution is very clear about that. I think they make APC say they don't get better grounds for contest against that, right?
Okay.
The way they go pull in a parliament no more, legal, decent and all of those things. But APC says they no say they're not able to contest this because people in those parliamentarians were taking money from the consolidated fund. I don't care about it. Okay.
Okay, brother.
Know that.
Yeah, just time. Let's go straight to Brother Mamadou. The consortium of political parties, them, the legality, like Brother lawyer Ahmed Sise kind of say. But these people, they feel disenfranchised. Remember, there were 17, I believe, political parties that went to elections in 2018. 4 of them or 5 of them won seats in parliament where they make decisions. The other ones appear like they are irrelevant even though they exist. And political party not only means say you get to go on for win political power. No, it's just part of the mechanisms of the will of state or the democratization kind of a process. So 13 or 14 of them were left out. They're not in parliament. They don't make decisions that affect the lives of Sierra Leoneans. But these people seem to have come together suddenly for form this consortium of political progressive party. Then, what's your take, Mr. Mamadou? Your own take. You've heard the other two.
Yeah. Thanks. And apology in advance to anybody who might be feel offended now, animal rights lovers or so.
Straight up, brother. Thanks for the apologies, but straight up.
I just want to say, because normally when they're anything that trouble make one give pepper. You know that, right? So this whole thing about this consortium, yeah, you don't outline some of the reasons then we make them come together. But my understanding about them, then get them differences as well. They did sign a memorandum of understanding as to the issues that wouldn't work on, wouldn't share commonalities. We brother did mention about itself being as a pressure group, because they don't see, say, as an individual parties in the parliament, they are not going anywhere. We brother mentioned about the smaller parties and breaking away, doing their own things. I think the doctrine of united we stand, or united and we are powerful, they use them and they use them well. I think that they even increase the parliamentarians, their popularity, and people then begin to say, well, we don't begin to see something at parliament. Things don't begin go right, because now they don't begin get one voice. And this one voice where they're all one for talk, then they use one for talk about the issues that would affect the country, don't put them in a position of more better state now. So now them individual constituencies, them, we brother they talk say, oh, okay, I don't know them, they're still popular there. So this consortium, that's what I say, we are right to say it's a pressure group, but that doesn't mean say then get commonalities where you come for elections there, because if political party get your manifesto, the issues that wouldn't get for address and sell to the people and forget and vote. For the time being, this consortium is effective, and if insofar as they're able for stand on the issues, then first of all, we bring them come together. We example right again, the council or therefore be what non-partisan. If I understand, if I know that very well, I know before that the councillors they now therefore stand as an individual and no longer by having a symbol from a political party. I think that issue there, been go down well. And the other issues then come up also, we make them form this consortium. So it's serving as a pressure group, but it has its own fundamental belief. And as the political party members of ONDD, they're still loyal to the political party and manifesto, standing, and ideology.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Mansari. They form the consortium and then get their own ideologies then, but it will seem largely like these ideologies or the formation of this consortium is born out of the fact that other outlets, political outlets, are being suppressed, and it would seem like a smart move, like for them to come together to undermine another aspect of the political spectrum, which seem to be dominating and focus on one strong entity, which I believe you are speaking to. But we are fast running out of time, you know, and so we got two more things then for talk about. And then we come to the conclusion of this maiden program. We'll be say 1 hour, but we don't understand that this is so serious, you know, in terms of the national discussion that we have. We get lawyer Ahmed Sise. Of course, we talk about legal mind, that when he expound on something, for let we even figure that out, it takes us quite a while. We get brains like Manso Bompat, and of course, Mr. Momodu Mansari. But let me go down quickly to this, something else will be play out. Now, the international community, this was an interview held by we current president, His Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Marabio, was recently on the CNN trying for different issues as supposedly put out there allegations by the Africanist press, in terms of their publications. I don't know whether I get the video. Let's just contact my technical team quickly. Let's see whether they're able to roll the video, because this is quite important. Let me see whether we're able to get this video. We go play the video if we do have it, and then we ask for our respective views on the president in response to that international thing the way we did talk about. So dear, wanna bear with me 1 second. Hopefully we should have that video. And if that video plays, then obviously we will see waiting happen. So let me see whether we get this president in video they play. Okay, I just see there is a couple of interference. Okay, let me see. Okay, somebody in video, they make noise on the background. If we can mute we audio them, they talk about we guess them. I don't know whether we get the audio of the president, but this is important, this interview. Make I just stop them, ask the technical team for stop them and see whether they can play them all over again. Let's see whether they can play, because I want a good analysis, but I want the public able for view them. So make I try one more time. If we don't have it, it's not a problem. We can move on. It's not a problem if we not get them, we can move on. That's just what it is. It is what it is, the American man say. Okay, it is what it is. What did we call it? HHH. So dear family, on bear with me. At the same time, now I just take up more pandis. Today on the 23rd of May, 2023. And we get this maiden program from the Then and Now Media Empire, in which we talk about issues we make the news, in other words, news headlines, and etc., about their country, Sierra Leone. And one of the issues that we want to talk about finally, before we go, not finally, we get the last part, is that of an interview by the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, recently held on the CNN cable network, regarding allegations of corruption of the president and in beloved wife. I mean, that was said clearly by the interviewer. You know, you have been accused of XYZ. We just want to see whether this video is able for play. So, do you have family at the big one? Bear with me, yeah?
The Chief Minister.
Okay, there we are. We got the video
the First Lady, your wife.
When I forget the commentary in the background.
Used public funds. How will they be held accountable?
Ask him. Exactly. Good question.
There's a prescription for whatever happens. If that is the case, and it's proven in a court of law or by the commission, They either ask to pay for it, or there are different forms of punishment for that.
Wow.
They will have to.
On top of that, you recently hired a brand new finance minister who was accused of long-standing corruption in the previous administration. What message does that send to Sierra Leoneans?
No good example. No good example.
Again, you've used the word accused. And he has had to go through a very long legal process to prove that he is not guilty. So, like I said earlier, it is easier. Anybody can make such claims, outlandish claims, or that the other person.
Okay, it's this is just a 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 10 seconds video. We just play half of them, about 1 hour and 10 seconds. I mean, 1 minute and 10 seconds. We go play the other 1 minute. But so far, Daniel, did you hear what the president say?
Very clearly.
Okay, provide me an analysis. Provide me an analysis, please.
I think it was a PR disaster, and it was a PR disaster, and particularly how they ask him, but they say the president, in response to the chief minister in wife, they say then go be prosecuted if sufficient evidence then go be prosecuted and then go be. So you see, you not get any kind of clear strategy, and people like everybody is saying this. Everybody know how it's in the happen. Every social media, everybody know for say the ACC now go get the guts for prosecute the first lady. it's just clear, and it's just unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate.
So what about the body language, Brother Daniel? I mean, we saw a domestic interview conducted by one of the best journalists ever, Mr. Umaru Fofana, in inverted commas, by Mr. Umaru Fofana, speaking to the president, in which Mr. Fofana posed a direct question to the president regarding all of this whole Eriso. And then, even though the question was straightforward and direct, the president managed for direct and to inwef. The question was not about his wife. And he be so strict and stern. This is what I mean by body language. But when he come to the CNN asking him questions within the same respect, it seems a little bit different in terms of his body language, like a charm offensive, if you like. I don't know whether I made it sound well.
You're correct.
Your view, please.
It was not comfortable. It was very, very uncomfortable because say. The platform where they use, not to that local platform. I understand what you talk like. I remember when Umaru Fofana the interview, relax, even ask him when they say, he say Umaru Fofana not even sympathize with his wife because he asked him, say, I remember not the question where Umaru Fofana posed to him, say, well, Lara, the Auditor General,
absolutely
so much stuff, He say, if he as the president, sympathize with him, as a public official, the father of the land, Instead of it should have been, even it should have been more diplomatic and just try for fix up something, But in fact, he went wide. He say, Umaru Fofana not even sympathize with his wife, So he avoided the question, but you look at her, he was confident, But here. Say this platform we get is speaking to the world, and also it was very, very.
So that's my point. Cut the line, cut the chase between X and Y, which you've just done, Mr. Mansari, please.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's bring your experience now, so a little bit, please. Yeah. I don't work for the criminal justice system in the UK, and I still work for them. I don't did it now in this capacity as a probation officer for 15 years. And so therefore that requires you for the criminal justice degree, not to say about the human rights law I do now. But I don't serve as coach them. We're in the capacity of interviewing people a lot in relation to different offenses than when you look at the body language, when I don't mention, so now you tell that it's been so evasive, yeah, and also comfortable. The smile now in face, they tell you, say, if you can just avoid that question, please. But let me try to be honest here. It don't tell you a lot from in presentation. The whole thing also about Marabio is, or the regime, it's double standard. These have been the same people then where then label APC authorities them, former ministers then, as corrupt as if they're not tried in a court of law. He is now the same president calling, first of all, for the due process of law. Yeah, for the due process of justice for take its course. But when he be not label others than already as corrupt, as jumpies, he get all sorts of names. Yeah, and in the same chief minister, he was a champion of that. So what's in beyond the field now, and what's it, if you don't make clear now that interview is, okay, if they are found guilty, then the law will take its course. But how are they going to be found guilty? Has the process been initiated? Has the Anti-Corruption Commission and put mechanism in place to investigate them? No, you don't go down that road there, because say now uncomfortable zone. And so matter in body language, even tell you say, I wish this lady can just forget about this question quickly. Let me move on to another thing.
Well said, sir. This just proved the point, how smart Sierra Leoneans are. Let's come to the legal mind, because there are many aspects of waiting the president speak to, which has some legal bearing. Some of us who are not legally minded will not get the gist. But like waiting Brother Momodu say gist now, and waiting our ex-lawyer say from a legal perspective, in terms of waiting the presidency, was there anything incriminating, contextually speaking, sir?
Well, as far as this issue is concerned, you see, you spot on when you say earlier, before the president ascends to the throne, they emphasize on transparency. Okay. Now, as a lawyer, my job is not to judge people whether they're wrong or right. Okay. But we live and thrive to defend the presumption of innocence. That is what we do for. So when institutions, they impede that process, institutions such as within the criminal justice system, it be say the ACC or the police, no one investigates crimes, we hinge on higher authority. And then it puts the entire process in peril. Mark you, the previous regime, about 2 months, less than 2 years to the reigns, where they are sent to power, the Minister of NIG, the Honorable High Commissioner Afsatu Khabar, was accused through media. The media alleged, say, a compromise with some deals with regards to the power station at Blackall Road. They relieve him off in duty. They investigate him, charge him to court, the ACC court. So is the late Dr. Sheku Kamara, former Minister of Health. They accuse him, instead of the media play a role for begin highlight some anomalies on awarding contracts. So why now, when this time around the media play a role as usual, and then for bring investigation, clear, impartial investigation, then we have issues. That is my problem. Because we get so much problem. We get so much problem that this country we camper, especially this regime when it camper transparency. But this is their flagship. It embeds in their manifesto. They even attempt to legislate a law that will exempt them from accounting for the presidential impress. Presidential impress is could it be that they have seen or they've sniffed the channel, the Africanist press, the investigation, because it precedes the investigation. Just where they want act, all waiting they want legislate before last year, before the Africanist press revelations, now in the African Express reveal so. So then we want to make them illegal. Had they enacted that piece of legislation, all waiting Channel Ablai alleged to most of them before go in vain, because there is a law that says the president should not account for that. You see, so the role of the press, the role of the press in this is pivotal.
Okay,
the role of the press
from mute the audio, please.
The role of the press.
Audio. Let's be professional. The whole world is watching us.
Okay. The role of the press is very crucial here. My apologies for this.
That's all right, sir. That's all right.
The role of the press is very crucial here. When I say in this regime, they feel so jittery with these new revelations of the African Express, it begs the question whether it is any findings now on will be credible, because it's not too late. Justice is fresh, a sweet when it's fresh.
Okay, lawyer Cisse.
Yes.
There are two parts to the tape, and we don't run out of time. I just want to play the second part of the tape. Let me create a quick analysis and we'll move on. But from this is the Then and Now Media Empire, and this program is the maiden program of the review, the Week in Review, in which we go look at issues which made the headlines for Take We Country Go Forward. And it's open, it's impartial, unbiased. So regardless of where you belong in terms of the political argument, NGC, SLPP, APC, C4C, NURRP, UP, Fodesanko in party, wherever you belong, send us, you would say you want for join in articulating these points that we make here tonight. These are the initial program, and we go welcome you because we want to hear from all sides. I want for say, we're not in the program yet, but I'm so excited at having Brother Daniel Bompature and Mr. Momodu Koroma, who at the last minute, I must say, at the last minute, take up the opportunity for filling for two people away pull out because for some unforeseen emergencies. And Brother, the lawyer Ahmed Cisse, we get constraints where he is in terms of internet, and the rest of it. And this is not a propaganda, this is just real. So if you want to partake, please let us know. Contact us 077-4010-7250. Don't forget, if you are calling from abroad or you want to send message from abroad, don't forget for add the country code +44, that's where I reside, and omit the 0. Email only one, the number one, only one prince@yahoo.com. The accolades is not mine. That's not what I'm looking at, because we will transition soon to the website itself, which is in the making. But for now, that's what it is. Thank you so much. So I'll play the second part of the video quickly, provide an analysis, and close this program. And I'm very, very grateful to all the participants then, including we marvelous platform. Let's see quickly whether I can get the second part of this video. Need for play the second part of the president in video interview with the CNN. Let's see whether we can get it up quickly. It's a 2 minutes and 10 second video. 2 minutes and second video. Let me take her from here anyway.
It is easier. Anybody can make such claims, outlandish claims, or that the other person is corrupt. But we are a law-abiding country, and we go through the entire length to make sure that when claims or allegations are made, we prove them in a court of law, and then we take the necessary actions.
And finally, when it comes to the importance of diversification, obviously the Sierra Leone economy has relied heavily on commodities, particularly iron ore, diamonds, which have been synonymous with conflict. All commodities are sort of subject to change in prices and fluctuations and that sort of thing. Where are you when it comes to diversifying the economy and making sure that you have other sources of income beyond commodities?
we inherited a very difficult mining sector.
Wow.
But we are not going to leave it like that. We have embarked on different reforms.
Right. Okay. This is quite interesting, and I will go straight to Brother Mamadou Mansare. The president was given, the bottom line here is the president was given an opportunity for redemption. I want to call it redemption, which is both biblical and philosophical, if you will like. Yet the president, is spill him over. We all do know that the president is not an artful talker. He's not artful in terms of talking, but even sometimes the most unartful of talker can seize the opportunity, because again, you had a pre-invitation, so you will have been pre-prepared, Mr. Mansare, if you know what I mean, sir. And if you see at the bottom on the scroller, it says the president, this is the CNN, made outlandish claims. Your view, sir?
Well, this are the thing, the difference with you here, we're in a different environment. We've been in a parliament, because I've been a reaching speech. You see how expressive he was trying to be. For Hamas, some of them pointed, we will achieve this, we will do this, we'll do this, blah, blah, blah. We're in a different zone where that's not about reaching speech, that's about oral business. But let's say we all have different skills when it comes to orality and oral and issues there. So, even some of we study law, I mean, not all and good lawyers then get good oratory skills,
Yeah.
But forgive me if I get this wrong. I just don't know the date when this CNN interview take place. Where I want for use my argument say now been opportunity for Mara Bio for at least apologize or try for amend things that with Israeli people them in relation to one issue, the nature of the independent, the 6th independent. That's
so let me help you that regard quickly.
Yeah.
So this interview came after, sir. It came after. So there was also an opportunity, if you like.
Good. So therefore, I wasn't too sure. So I wanted to be, and I'm glad you affirmed it for me. So there was an opportunity for this guy for an amend issues. Now, first of all, the nature in which the 60th anniversary take place were very unusual. To be honest, I've been getting confused when somebody send me some WhatsApp clips and say, look at stadium flop. I've been getting, I say, wow, well, we are hearing so many different things in Sierra Leone, but look, this anniversary thing, 2 days ago, they said people have to stay home, stay this. Then within, by the time of the day they done, somebody clarified and said, no, this has been the 50th anniversary, and this is the 60th anniversary. So the fact that man not able for use the very thoughtful and articulate sound speech when we brought up in the talk about now, Mr. Toure, where the Ghanaian president make for say there is no more in modern day politics or Africa or country for tribal and divisions there. And Mother Biofel for Alai say we are coming from the gunboat diplomacy period of the 19th century for celebrate freedom. In the 19th century, the naval powers they use all their might, put gun away, tell we say that this is not for you, otherwise we are not getting no chance. We succumb. But we don't get the period of 60 years, we don't free from that now. In don't come back. For can't tell people they say when I stay home. They say the whole of Freetown it was filled with military personnel and tanks and so on. I don't know how many tanks I don't get. Maybe it was an exaggeration. But the fact that people were not able to go out and celebrate, reflect, and on the things that we don't achieve, me always an advocate for progressive development here because I do development studies. The time will be the status will be there at will gain independent. Me get always the belief that we don't progress no matter what little it is in whatever shape or form. We don't progress, and that achievement they don't celebrate that. Okay. But here was the situation where they seize with freedom, where they seize with liberty, where people and then just really not be happy. So now the opportunity for Bill for actually use that for the international community platform borrow a page from the Ghanaian and president's speech when I say, hey, Bio, if I been Ghana, I go, you know, get a platform they sell for say that statement.
Okay.
That's
Okay, Mr. Masari, thank you so much. I'll go quickly to Mr. Bompa Toure, Daniel Bompa Toure. We read the president clearly. It was on a CNN interview. The interviewer, obviously, we all know now, say, some of the works that we are doing, some of the conversations that we are having is being heard on the international community. Because I know some brothers and sisters, they sort of saying, it's like, what do they do? It doesn't really matter because he's going to do what he wants to do anyway. But the CNN interview proved something, which is we are being heard. So the president was asked directly, your wife, yourself, in terms of corruption. And the president in response, that's what I want you to deal with, Mr. Toure. What say you, sir?
Yeah, so the one something way is very clear is that the president, this interview, then do after the ACC boss Kelfala don't do an investigation where you say they investigate the office of the first lady almost previous.
Absolutely.
They don't finish that report there.
Yeah.
They don't produce the report.
Damn.
Okay. If that report they been credible, President Bill make reference to that report. They say a credible ACC don't go through this thing, and this lady not found one thing. Even for say that, but because he says no say that report we can fix up, credible and make mention herself, talk about herself. So it just shows some kind. I just don't.
Okay. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you so much. I'll move on straight to lawyer Cisse. Lawyer Cisse, we are the president for ourselves on an international media. Again, from a legal perspective, what even they say as opposed to waiting the accusation. Now, I want to look at from a legal standpoint of view. There are accusations on the ground. And in fact, the president was a respondent to those accusations. From a legal perspective, sir, can you lecture us a bit? I say lecture with all due respect.
Well, he was not a respondent because you have to be found wanting or charged or arraigned before a court of law and then you respond. He wasn't even a suspect. Waiting Kelfala say, he said most of the things that they allege were captured under audits. Implicitly, the Auditor General for able account for that. With the Auditor General don't give an audit report for lay and before Parliament now for anyway. For lay and before Parliament now, let them discuss them when a statutory process back. Instead, they meet with huge challenge. So if you, the ACC, say what the African Express mentioned has already been captured under audit, so there's no point to delve into them. But there are issues that General Alpha mentioned in terms of, there are two issues. It questioned the proportional impropriety, procedural impropriety. In other words, monies that as the finance minister disbursed ought not to have been disbursed to a non-government entity. That is what he accused. And secondly, even the expenditure must have been approved by Parliament. Now, the minister fought back. He said the relevant section of the Financial Act, Section 39, give him the mandate for spend 1% of the budget to any entity that connotes public interest. Now, who determines public interest? Parliament. Did they go to Parliament? No. So either way where you turn up, he said he cannot investigate because it is captured under audit. The audit is not laid before Parliament. Now he said the disbursement is legal because it is provided for in under section 39 of Financial Services Act, but the procedure they have to follow for disburse that again has them flouts them. So the legal dichotomy here, the problem for the Sierra Leone, for the average citizens. It's a dead end because you cannot go either way. But let me just say this, okay? If the president, you talk about, and I'm glad Mr. Mansari mentioned about celebrating Sierra Leone life. If you seriously respect our life, politics only accounts of less than 10% of success story of Sierra Leone. I have to be honest. I'm a partisan operative, but I have to be honest. Politicians, we only responsible for 10% of the success stories of this country. 90% rest on the citizenry. We had independence when there were no doctors, only 7 Sierra Leonean doctors. Today, 92% of doctors in Sierra Leone are trained in Sierra Leone. Yeah. We only had University of Sierra Leone had 150 or 200 students. Today we get campuses all over, constituent university from Unimac to Botloko to Kenima. This is the work of the private citizens and not the government, I must say. We have lecturers, we have so many to celebrate. We have market people who don't educate PhD holders, market women. So if you go stop them, only for the head of states then can give speeches, we go even further remind you of you keep the political divide. It's sad.
Okay, many thanks for that, sir. Mr. Bompatue, I see you raised your hand. Was there something you wanted to say?
No.
Or let's just put it this way, because this is the final part of the program. Very brilliant program indeed. In other words, we want to go to the 60th celebration anniversary, where all of you touch on, even though we're not on candidate. Because why? We issues are all kind of intertwined with each other, and it's about the issue of independence, which Lawyer Sisi just briefly, spoke of in the last submission we make. So the issue of 60th year celebration, Brother Mamadou, let's shift over to Brother Mamadou Mansari. 60 years of independence, 60 years of retrospecting, where we came from, where we are, where we expect for go. 60 years of this time around, what we celebrate with independence, like what Lawyer Ahmed Sisi say, we the Ghanaian president actually get for come and lecture we, even though we know say he doing work, but the idea that he get for come lecture we, even though we invite him, what say you, Mr. Mamadou Mansari?
I mean, from the standpoint of progressive development here, Mr.
I like what you can say from the standpoint of progressive development. I like that very much. You sound a little bit socialist and a progressive, if you don't mind. Carry on, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I think we briefly touch on Mr. Sisi also and touch on in the last statement there. For say, if you look at USA, we come out to USA would they so today. Yes, you get a lot of debate surrounding a lot of issues, political development, economic development, social development, freedom, liberty, and all those things. But the question sometimes is, what are these things and how far we don't achieve them to date? Well, you get other nation states, then get different routes how they take the side and they so today. Way back in the 60s, perhaps, then they compare Malaysia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Singapore, no, not Singapore necessarily, and that then they at economic power. But we all know, say today, if you look at Malaysia economic development, they are classified more as middle-income countries. I mean, I don't know, and although politically, and we're not going to use the word third world anymore, we're going to be more between the Cold War period, and analysts them they use for describe different parts of the world, who side and stand in terms of advancements here. But we know, say today, we Israel no able reach at that level of a middle income stage yet, but we are progressing there. And then Mr. Sisi don't talk about the doctors that will be get in the 60s to today. The institutions that we don't we did at the 60s, how far we don't progress with them to today. I mean, I think the only side I would say we can get problem with the political development. Now, Salon, we still get political development, but this is because it's all over. I mean, when I can talk, say, Ghana now the leading West African country in terms of democratic institutions there, and so I can always try to argue that, but because, or even Nigeria here, I mean, that means if you take coups then out and legitimate governments, then now they come in through the ballot box. So we don't make progress, but these 3 years, the feeling what I get is that all the progress we don't make and this post-war Sierra Leone, within 3 years, it don't sink back. It don't sink, it don't dip. So therefore, you can as well argue, say, well, from the 60s to now, politically here, we still get problems, you know. But no, it's like we are fluctuating, you know. We try to go up, but a situation they imagine they pull it down. Because what they talk about more than the Sierra Leone today, political freedom is suppressed. Arbitrary arrests that they take place, killing that they take place where the president for even come out humanely and apologize or say something about it is yet to say it. We can mention the Panemba Road incident. We can talk about the Tombo incident. We can talk about McKinney and other places then. So in that regard, I think we still live here. Other areas then, fairly speaking, we don't progress. We get for tap, we get for acknowledge that we safe. But I think we don't progress in terms of social and cultural development, you know, and as far as I know, my understanding about Salon, I don't live Salon for a very long time, but I still frequently. But there is still cultural awareness and practices that will take place. Albeit, are they in place? And I understand, say, culture can be reformed. So we take the good one, we left the bad one then. You know, that means what your forefathers them they do before the 60s or in those days. Some of we know they in twin with that today. And we see reason why for modernize them. And we modernize them for suit we own modern day lifestyle. You know, at least it may, in the 60s, my granny not able to use WhatsApp. But today, my mama they able to use them, or at least me able to use them, you know. But if you go back those days, that'd be problem. So now one advancement and in terms of cultural and social interactions. Okay. But yes, certain areas that we still live there. So now a very difficult topics this we need time for elaborate on.
Okay. Many thanks, Mr. Ansari. Brother Daniel, I'll go back to you, then go back to Brother Sisi, and then we final submission on this beautiful program tonight. So it's 60 years of independence, Brother Turi. 60 years in which the results are unsatisfactory broadly. 60 years in which we don't change government. Inside these 60 years, we fought a brutal civil war. Many of our compatriots then die. People then lost their limbs and properties and etc. We should have learned from those lessons of what happened. But 60 years on, here we are today. Waiting at you general take as to who side we did today, both in the then and now.
In 1967, Sierra Leone, we become the first country in sub-Saharan Africa for an opposition defeat an incumbent. So we had a very powerful platform. By 1967, plenty of West Africa countries then they in political mess, you know. But Sierra Leone are one of the pride of democracy. I think the interregnum of the 1967 coup, you know, it transformed President Stephen into demon. That this man will campaign on a political platform instead due to fear of in life, fear of try for maintain the political status quo, instead transform and it go into other things. Because even within the APC, within the APC, there are people and even within the APC we not move with Shaka Stephen with their autocratic tendencies, then the way come out from Guinea, you know. So it gets problem for deal with democratic blocks within the APC, you know. So when you we don't need for compare Singapore and Malaysia. Look at African countries. Look at Botswana. Botswana from Seraso Kama taken from when Botswana get independence. I think they don't get no medical doctor. But that guy
nowhere. Let put it this way: nowhere equal to us. Nowhere.
The guy take power from 1966. By the time they left power in 1980, it don't transform Botswana to one of the leading economies in Africa. First time I used to blame neocolonialism, this stuff. When you look at the president of Malawi, you know, every 1 year, right? It don't show spark or show say this guy means serious thing. The first thing, now two things. I always talk about the African problem, the African situation. Now two things. If you become president in Africa, the first thing where they make you get massive following, people able to follow you. Now, when people in say in your first year, your first 6 months, people in say you hate corruption. If people are not say you hate corruption, people in just say now just the normal flow of things, and you don't lose the election, you don't lose before the next election. People like that will say you get for demonstrate one of the problems in Africa are corruption and poor leadership. People then get for say when they appoint somebody, when somebody is elected to president in Africa, you first 2-3 months, people then for really say this now person where they are against corruption. The Malawi president, it so cherish the Auditor General's report. It so cherish him. It embrace that report. There, it say it do lots of minister of I think transport. It takes some money from the COVID funds. They use them as per diem for them. They say and the guy return them back. The minister return them. He sack the minister. I say because if that money they be done, that money them for don't use them to something better.
Okay,
so that focus then I don't think we get that leader there yet. We may not see throughout Sierra Leone era. Believe you me, throughout Sierra Leone era, I'm not see we get that. And Escoma show some spark in first time, but later himself gets mad into some crazy stuff and all of those things. But I not really see say
you got mad in some crazy stuff. One or two, please, just for the benefit of the audience. What do you mean?
President Koma in the first time, it shows some spark because when it came, the lawyer talked about fighting corruption. It was serious about corruption because he appointed Tijan Cole able to get the guts for charge government ministers. Kelfala not get that minded. The present ACC boss, he not get that minded for that. Tijan Cole, a principal person, always no say this job is the tension was too much.
He resigned.
He resigned. He resigned in job. So that's principle.
So these are the kind of people that we call principal person or persons, and I've watched him, have read him, and I get absolute respect for him because just like you say, when he say there was no way forward or in work won't be compromised, he resigned and he keep integrity. Many thanks for that. Let's go to Lawyer Cisse quickly on this last point of the discussion. Lawyer Cisse, 60 years of independence. Of course, the arguments could go on and on and on and on. Advantages, disadvantages, please.
Well, actually, I'm not going to delve on the argument of whether we should celebrate or not celebrate. It's a relative term. Progress is a relative term. But when they look at the international index for measure progress, we not go just say because of I said this, you mean that progress. Comparatively, is there progress? If I boast of university education, if I boast of having more doctors, comparatively, is there progress? Look at the sub-region, look at Ghana, Nigeria, okay? But I always say of the big say, we politicians, we should not dictate on how people should live, whether they choose to celebrate or they should not celebrate, okay? Well, as I say earlier, the way they conduct affairs in this 60th anniversary is clearly to tell people that you don't have the right of self-determination. You cannot determine whether you're happy or not. In your 60th anniversary, we have to decide for you. So you stay indoors. In fact, you cannot fly on your own streets, which you pay taxes for. In fact, you cannot go out wearing certain colors. So all this one points out to the fact, say, we can, at the place, we'll not go get this debate in the next centenary, 100 years, if Allah spare we life, or we still there around for even guide we can't begin and say this was how it was during the Jubilee era on when we turn 60. So there's a lot we can celebrate, as I say earlier, but the way the government, the way the economy they go right now, people are just embroiled into this oblivion that what the hell is happening. Forget about celebration. We're consumed with fear. We cannot, there are security forces all over the place. You cannot go somewhere freely and feel say yes, you know, go see police, they harass. Yesterday, I was at the National Stadium watching football Lions play Bombali. Below me, there was a huge argument ensued before I remember. Then pull left, they begin to, one popular musician was involved. And then police were standing idly and nobody.
So I mean, this is quite interesting, because the then and now receive many reports, from the musician or people associated with the musician, where you just they confirm that there were stabbings which take place to this popular musician, I think now LAJ or how they call him. So many times for that, but sorry.
My worry is,
please.
I'm just worried at the role of the police. I know I don't want to even go to the contents of the way it happened, the crime, way it happened, if there is a crime or whatever, but the conduct of the police for and this is not the first, the second, when operatives of the SLPP are unleashing terror on people, the police will stand idly. This is my problem. They will drive unlicensed vehicles. Nothing happened. If you go to the SLPP dominated area, there is barely no coffee. You go now Western area, strict coffee. So people are asking. This is why you see this 60th anniversary. It go like no one knows. Hello, what's going on? You know, Celebrate when you have happiness. You can celebrate when you have liberty to do a whole lot of things, knowing say there is no backlash. Celebrate wherever you want. Celebrate how you want it. If I am SLPP, I might celebrate Milton Magai. Say today I'm going to celebrate what Milton Magai did for my party. I should have the liberty to do that. If I'm APC, I should be able to stand and say, I like what Joseph Saidi Momo do to usher in the 91 Constitution, multi-party, so I should celebrate him. So you cannot freely celebrate. That is my argument.
Okay, lawyer. So Fambulem, on the 23rd day of May, it's a Sunday, 2021. We are carrying out a very important discussion, and this is one of the newest shows we platform on the Empire. It's called the Week in Review. The Week in Review is meant to be impartial, unbiased. So just like if you get view, in fact, now people that we call for that we can analyze the stories that we make headlines for the week in both print and electronic media. So it's open. So if you've got interest, you've got something to say, you know how to articulate your point, just make a known to we will bring you come on just like we do today. But generally, the world all over, they want to listen. We just want to make una for no say. We get few people that we get for come on like next week. We get the likes of Jesmed Mamisuma, who will be on the platform. And they say it will be definitely on the platform next week. There's a possibility. But then if you want to come on, yes. We get other big names then, Kadikal Marx and many other people then from a diverse point of view, not politically inclined in one such way, but very diverse. So we don't come to the end of this week program. So this beautiful program, it will be very much undone if we not give a final submission of a minute, 60 seconds, so with 3 participants then. So those who enjoy them and are supposed to enjoy them, but will not keep to the time limit, I apologize to una profusely. Like my friend Superman will say, profusely, that's one of his favorite words. So I apologize to una. But it was quite moving, educative, and quite informing. So Brother Ahmed Sise, the lawyer, your final word on this, please. 60 seconds, if you will, 1 minute.
Thank you very much. I will send my feedback on some issue the way the show go personally, but I think this is timely. On the issues discussed so far, I love the way your audience and participate, and I also love the way every opportunity you have to ensure your neutrality, how objective you are, you do that. How to issue disclaimer, you're quick at telling people how objective the program is, and I love that. Issues then they we without this program, they're not before able to come on the light, and not underestimate waiting this program is doing to the Sierra Leone citizens and I mean the world at large. Okay, I appreciate that, and this is a program we give platform to a lot of critics, them outspoken journalists, and way otherwise they're not before able to get a proper forum for channel them. So all the issues discussed so far, I'm happy, so also happy. This is why, and to your viewers, it may interest you to know that I am sitting at the heart of Tonkolili in my village, and I still have connectivity uninterrupted, and I can still communicate. This goes to show that I am committed to helping you deliver, profile your message to your people. Okay, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Many thanks. I really do appreciate your time taking off your beautiful time. We're probably the holiday in so no one call them extreme difficult circumstances, but yet you make them possible. We deeply appreciate that, fundamentally appreciate that, and that will go a long way. Brother Mamadou Mansare, please.
Yes, I'll just re-echo what my brother said bit, but first of all, I tell you plenty thank you. I tell Mr. Toure as well, thank you for the sharing of ideas, and my colleague there, lawyer Sise, tell him plenty thank you. And I can always like for say, I mean, we don't trust a lot of things and we all passionate about the issues that we don't talk about. For me personally now, as a human rights lawyer, and I can always like for end this there, so for pay massive respect to the one that we don't lost their life due to political intimidation and arbitrary and whatever and form of political violence now wouldn't stand for their right. It's not supposed to be like that. It meant to be you stand up for your right and then and you respect other people's rights as well. But we don't see and we don't experience some form of intimidation stem and see how police brutality, we just don't talk this. Idena Stadium, incident they happen down, knives said it, Comonado, police they need do nothing. That itself is not good for democracy. You know, not for talk now about the series of political brutalities, them, intimidations, how they're going to. So to those victims, I salute them, and the one who then did that grave, let God make their soul rest in peace. The one that way, then they still continue for so far, let God make we get a proper, in the immediacy, time for address the issues and let justice takes its course. And let we get good leader who will save that country today from all them problems there. So I tell you, thank you for hosting me.
Okay, wow, smart people. Brother Mamadou Mansari, many thanks. You know, yeah, you got the hair on the back of my neck, you know, kind of standing in the way you articulate that, because the issue here is one about we, our country, and the people who occupy the country in terms of we the people. So that's what we try to talk about. All said and done, let's just move on quickly. Let me hear Brother Bumper Ture in 1 minute sort of submission or conclusion.
Yeah, I want to commend all the other speakers there, and for able for impress on you that this platform is very, very important for able to raise awareness on a lot of things. And I'm very concerned about this bill, this cyber bill. Everywhere cyber bills in the go all over the world, and then but let me just ensure say, because the 1965 Public Order Act where Albert Magai introduced and get enacted, and only it later can hurt the SLPP back. So SLPP can therefore be careful for no say, even if you didn't have power, where they enact law, no say this lawyer tomorrow, this lawyer says will bet you. But because we the ordinary Sierra Leoneans, now we they suffered, we they get the general pain, then this kind of platform for able to raise the awareness that people of Sierra Leone will for no say if that bill they able to pass, we for able to ensure say every something way fishy, we for able for trim and we for able for remove them from that, so that at the end of the day, SLPP go then for able for members say you can pass bad law today, tomorrow it will affect you back.
Okay. That's what I love about the brother, always short, succinct, and to the point. So Fambulem, we don't hear waiting, we guest panel and get for say today. And this is now the initial program of a program where will be aired once a week, every Sunday, same time, same place, on this particular platform, which we the hope say we all go respond to. If you want to be part of the program, don't hesitate. It doesn't matter which political aisle you belong to, which political construct you belong to, as long as you are Sierra Leonean, and in fact, that's not the befitting factor, that's not the qualifying factor, where you belong in terms of your country. Are you a Sierra Leonean? If you are, let us know that you want to join part of this program for let we able for critique within the issues them going forward in our country. So this is not the maiden program. I want to say thank you very, very much to Brother Daniel Bumper Ture. Exceptional thanks for the last minute of time, because about 3 people then pull out because of some unforeseen circumstances. But we, dear brother Mamadou Mansari, be able for feeling at the last minute, and for this I'm eternally grateful, Mr. Mansari. And lawyer Ahmed Sise, same thing. He get similar constraints down there. So even they say, in as much as he want to participate, but these are the constraints, and they way upline, but it still make him a point of view for appear at the very last minute. For all of this, on behalf of the platform, I want to say thank you so much, and we eternal gratefulness to Una always make it possible. But this is not the end, because the national conversation continues unabated. There's going to be a program of the same kind next week, and the following week, and the following week, and the following week. Brother Daniel, we hope for hearing from you soon in terms of that you regular program where you get for begin for host. But for now, this has been the Then and Now Media Empire. And just before I go, tomorrow we get, not tomorrow, sorry, on Wednesday we get the Melvin Metiga show, where they bring one of our sisters, then program right on the platform, Kadi Fresh. Kadi Fresh, without saying very much, because we're going to hear for ourselves. Now, one of them women, them we're very progressive, kind of progressive. We day away from home, but the woman where they help we fulfill home away from home. If you want eat you plus us, we you don't used to, through Kadi Fresh, you hear the name Fresh, you go eat them. And many other things, but I will left this for Wednesday. But not forget for tuning in on Wednesday, where the Melvin Meziga show, they bring Kadi Fresh live. For the Then and Now Media Platform Empire, I've been your host and presenter, Prince Emil Kromadi. Say goodbye to you all. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.